My name is Jessica. I'm a 28-year-old office worker. Currently, I work at my father's construction company. I'm about to get married soon. My fiancé is a college classmate named John. He confessed his feelings to me, and we started dating, and now we live together. John works in a company in downtown, and I work at my local father's company. He commutes by train, but I drive to work. Right now, I'm busy preparing for our wedding, which is just 3 months away. John usually gets home around 7 p.m., so I usually take care of the meals since I get home earlier. On weekends, he takes care of cleaning the room and the bathroom. I love cars, especially driving them. Because of my father's company, I also have a crane operator's license. I'm 5 feet 1 inch tall and have a youthful face, so when I operate a crane at the construction site in my work clothes, I often surprise people. Well, seeing their reactions is part of the fun. One day, I was about to go shopping by car. I was going with my best friend, Olivia. We've been friends since elementary school and even went to college together. She's a friend I can talk to about anything. That day, we were heading to a newly opened outlet mall. It's in the next state, so it's a bit of a drive, but we decided to make a trip out of it. I headed to the convenience store, our meeting place, and met up with Olivia. Sorry to keep you waiting. Did you wait long?
No, I just bought some coffee. Want some, Jessica?
Olivia's coffee looked so tempting that I decided to take her up on her offer. Thanks, then please get me one too. I'll set up the GPS.
No problem.
As I asked, Olivia happily went into the coffee shop. I tried to set the destination on the car's navigation system, but accidentally pressed the history button. Really, this panel is so unresponsive. It happened when I was trying to switch the screen. But what's this history? There were a lot of motel names in the history that popped up. What is this? Of course, I had never searched for them. This car is mine, but John uses it sometimes too. It must have been John who used it. Oh well. I didn't dwell on it and continued setting up. I set the destination for the day and headed to the outlet mall with Olivia. Soon, we were on the freeway. The weather was nice, and it was a pleasant drive. Near one of the interchanges, Olivia suddenly said,
Look, it seems like there are a lot of motels around here.
"The motels in the navigation history were supposed to be around here too?" I only glanced briefly since I was driving, but indeed, there were many motels around. Really, there are a lot. Olivia and I laughed together, but the fact that there were so many motels in the history did bother me a bit. After finishing our shopping, I dropped Olivia off at her home and we said our goodbyes. Once I was alone and arrived home, I operated the car navigation system again to check the history. Sure enough, there were many motels listed near that interchange. John is supposed to use business hotels for business trips, so I felt a bit suspicious. I decided to keep an eye on John's activities and wondered why he had searched for so many motels. I decided to install a dash cam in the car. Before installing it, I discussed it with John.
That sounds good, right? Many cars have them these days, and it's good for safety.
John agreed.
But if you're installing it, you should pay for it, Jessica. It's your car after all.
It's in my name, but you use it too. I persuaded John, and eventually, he agreed to contribute some money. The next day, after work, I drove straight to the dealership and had the dash cam installed. It has cameras facing both front and back, and one that records the interior of the car. The recording time is 5 hours, after which it overwrites the older files. I also installed a GPS logger. This device records the movements of the car using GPS. Later, after John used the car, I checked the recordings from the dash cam and the data from the GPS logger. Since I use the car for commuting, John mainly uses it on weekends. Of course, he always asks for my permission beforehand. One weekend, John asked me,
Can I use the car this Saturday?
"Sure, where are you going?"
To that shopping mall you went to. A friend of mine wants to check it out.
"Really? Which friend?"
A coworker who lives pretty close by.
"Is it a woman, by any chance?"
No way. He's a big, muscular guy.
"Well, okay then. Bring me back something."
Got it. Food's good for you, right?
"Yeah, I'd love something sweet."
All right, got it.
Then the weekend came. As planned, John left on Saturday and came back in the evening. After he returned, I told him, "I think I left something in the car." Then I got in the car and retrieved the memory card and the GPS logger. After John went to sleep, I checked the date on the GPS logger and the memory card. The GPS logger confirmed that he did go to that shopping mall. However, on the way back, he took an exit at the interchange and made a detour. Zooming into the location, it turned out to be the motel area I had checked the day before. Stopping at a motel on a day trip. This looks completely suspicious. And with our wedding next month, why is this happening? I felt my fingers trembling as I operated the computer. Shocked as I was, I composed myself and checked the memory card. I inserted the memory card into the computer and played the recorded video. Suddenly, an unfamiliar woman appeared in the passenger seat. She was a beautiful woman with long hair, dressed quite flamboyantly. She seemed older than me, but her occasional smile appeared youthful. I was so shocked, I could only stare at the screen. The conversation was also recorded.
"You're really bad, you know. Getting married next month and doing this."
She laughed.
It's fine. I'm marrying her because her dad owns a construction firm. He's got money.
"Wait, but what about us after you get married?"
That won't end things. You're my real choice, Victoria. I plan to divorce in about a year. Of course, I'll make it look like it's her fault. Take a good chunk of alimony and her parents' fortune, then I'll be with you.
"Really? I have to wait a year."
No, we'll keep seeing each other during that time. I can't stand being away from you for even a day.
"That makes me happy. John, I love you."
I love you too, Victoria.
I stopped the playback. I couldn't watch anymore. John was indeed cheating. And his intent to marry me was to take over my father's company. Even when he proposed to me, and the time we spent at a seaside hotel on my birthday, all of it was a facade. Why? Tears blurred the computer screen. From the next day, I decided to go back to my parents' house for a while. I have wedding preparations to make, so I'm going back home for a bit.
Okay.
John answered without much thought. Perhaps he would be happier without me around. I'm feeling a bit uneasy, so I'm going to stay here to calm down for a bit. It seems my parents thought I was experiencing cold feet.
Of course, that's fine.
My parents gladly agreed. A few days later, I received a call from my best friend, Olivia. Thinking I could tell her the truth, I confided everything to Olivia.
Got it. I'm coming over today and we'll drink the night away.
Olivia has a cute face, but she's kind of old school in some ways. But I love that part of her. I told my parents it was my last single girl party. Soon after, Olivia arrived with drinks and snacks.
Hello, I'm borrowing Jessica for the day. It might get a bit noisy, but please bear with us.
As soon as she arrived, Olivia cracked a joke.
No problem. I get the noise, but don't drink too much. I also made some snacks, so take them and eat up.
My mom had thoughtfully made some snacks as well.
Wow, thank you. I was wondering what that delicious smell was. We'll gladly take them. Wait, can I invite another friend over?
Yes, of course. Make it a party. That'll be a good memory for Jessica.
Thank you so much.
Then I called another friend, Michelle. She was a high school classmate and, coincidentally, the planner at the wedding venue we had booked, where we reunited as she was assigned our wedding. She went to the same high school as Olivia and me, and we had met a few times before, so now we're all good friends. The three of us started a party. I showed them the dash cam footage.
Wait, I know her. She's Victoria, a junior from our college club. Jessica wasn't in the club, but John and I were in the same club with her.
I was astonished to learn this fact. Really? John's junior? I thought she was older than me.
She has always seemed mature, but I never expected it was Victoria. She's invited to the wedding, too. Most of our club members are coming.
Olivia spoke while munching on the snacks my mom made.
But it feels so frustrating to leave it like this. I really want to get back at them.
Michelle slammed her empty wine glass down on the table forcefully. She has a strong sense of justice. She once caught a molester in high school and handed him over to the police. She was indignant on my behalf as if it were her own issue. Inspired by her words about revenge, Olivia started to speak.
Then let's ruin the wedding. I have an idea.
Olivia, she started scribbling something on a piece of paper as she said that.
How about this? Michelle, we'll need your help too. Can you help us out? Thinking of it as helping Jessica.
Of course. I'm the planner for this wedding, so I can do anything.
With Michelle, the planner, on our side, the chances of our plan succeeding skyrocketed.
Awesome. You're a lifesaver.
Hey, both of you, don't drink too much. With that, our plan was set. As the two of them fell asleep from drinking too much, I covered them with blankets and said, "Thank you, Olivia, Michelle." I had drunk too much too, but I felt a bit relieved. The next day, I returned to John's place. A few days after getting home, I implemented our first strategy. While reviewing the footage, Olivia had discovered it. One evening after work, I met John at the station as we planned to dine out at a family restaurant, and I drove us there. After the meal, I dropped John off at home first and then parked the car before returning to the apartment. John, to think you'd prepare something like this for me without telling. I walked into the living room and pretended to be touched.
What?
John made a strange noise at my sudden words. This is a gift for me, right? I found it in the car. I showed John the paper bag containing a designer brand bag. The paper bag also had the brand's name written in large letters. I was cleaning the back window of the car because it was dirty, and when I went to get the cleaning supplies from under the back seat, I found this. Oh, John, you were trying to surprise me by hiding it there, weren't you? Sorry, I found it. I played dumb and pretended to be even more delighted.
Well, that is.
John fumbled for words. What? Is there someone else you'd give something like this to?
Don't be silly. There's no one for me but you, Jessica.
Right? You bought it for me, didn't you? How much was it? Around $2,000. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a limited edition, so maybe $5,000. I thought it would suit you. It was supposed to be a surprise. Well, you got me.
Yeah, it seems a bit youthful, but I can still pull it off, right?
Of course. Any bag would look good on you, Jessica.
Hey, that's not really a compliment, is it?
Eeps, sorry.
Then I'll keep it safe. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
When I heard his last sigh, I had to struggle to keep from laughing. During that party, I had seen in the recordings that John was being nagged by Victoria for a luxury bag. And then, he bought the luxury bag and hid it under the back seat of the car. I found it and ended up receiving it instead. Even during dinner that evening, John was sighing. Serves him right. A few days later, my dad called me. It seems his bad habit kicked in again. He had gone and bought a new car. My dad has always loved cars and has owned many over the years. He told me that on his way home from work, while driving on the highway, he impulsively stopped in front of a used car center, and there, he spotted a top-notch model of a car he had always admired and ended up buying it on the spot. Dad, Mom must have scolded you, right?
Yeah, getting scolded is nothing. Listen, it's a car I've always wanted. I thought if I missed this opportunity, I might never get it again. I can't wait for it to be delivered.
Seriously, you never think about what comes next. What about your current car?
Yeah, I'll give that one to you. It's still in great shape. It's better than these flimsy new cars.
Well, I was actually starting to get tired of my current one.
Just sell that one. An automatic like that is no fun, right?
But then it hit me. Okay, I'll do that. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, it's getting delivered next week. So come pick it up by then. I'll have it cleaned up for you.
Okay, but Dad, this has to be the last of your hobbies, all right?
Don't say that. A man's passion never ends.
All right. Thanks, Dad. After hanging up, I couldn't help but smile. And so, my car changed a few days later.
Jessica, did you change your car? It looks cooler than the previous one.
Yes, my dad bought a new car, and I got his old one. It's cooler than the previous one, isn't it?
Yo, it's cool. Let me borrow it next Saturday.
Sure, that's fine. It felt like a fish taking the bait. Then on Saturday, John took the car keys and left, but soon came back.
Hey, that car.
What's wrong? It doesn't start.
No, it's not that. I can't drive it.
You can't drive it.
Yeah.
What's wrong? It was fine when I drove it yesterday.
But it's a manual.
So, what about it?
Well, I only have an automatic license.
All right.
It's not funny. I can't drive the car. It's a problem if I can't use a car.
Why is it a problem? Should I drive for you?
No, that's also troublesome. I don't want to bother you on your day off.
What? I don't mind.
No, it's okay. I'll figure something out.
Really? Well, take care then. He can't figure this out. Serves him right. The car I got from my dad is a manual. I have a manual license, so it's no problem for me. But John only has an automatic license. He legally can't drive that car. He probably couldn't drive it even if he tried. I already knew he was using a car for weekly dates. That's why I switched cars. It's in my name, so I can do whatever I want with it. Serves him right. With just 1 week left until the wedding, I received a call and was summoned to a specified location. Hello, I'm Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. I apologize for calling you out.
No problem. So, what's the situation?
Well, please take a seat first. I'll explain everything now.
I was led into a conference room and took a seat.
Firstly, regarding your request.
Yes, this was a private investigator's office. I had hired them to conduct a background check on John.
Regarding John, we can definitively say he's been unfaithful. We have secured photos and videos. Would you like to see them?
Yes, please. The detective then took out a laptop, inserted a USB drive, and started playing the videos. There they were, walking arm in arm, frolicking, and entering a motel. The video's date and time showed it was from the afternoon of the Saturday before last. And the photos showed them kissing and embracing each other. Thank you. This is enough. I then took the documents and left the office. Honestly, I knew about the infidelity, but it was hard to be confronted with the stark reality like this. I contacted Olivia and Michelle, and we decided to meet at a bar. We secured a private room, and I showed them the documents I had received during the day. Then our analysis meeting began.
Oh my God, this is pretty damning.
This one's incredible too.
Olivia and Michelle remarked in unison. I've completely lost all sympathy at this point. Now we're going to crush him completely. I took a big gulp of my beer.
Hey, Jessica, can I borrow this?
What for, Michelle?
I was already planning to make a slideshow for the bride and groom, so I'll just add these to it. It's easy.
All right, all that's left is the main event.
Then Olivia raised her beer mug and we toasted.
Let's do our best, everyone.
I felt tears welling up with gratitude for everyone's efforts, but I held them back. Finally, the day arrived. The wedding day was hectic from the morning. When I arrived at the venue, makeup started immediately, followed by hairstyling and dressing up, and everything proceeded as scheduled without regard to how I felt. When I saw myself in the wedding dress in the mirror, the image I had dreamed of, I started to cry, thinking I shouldn't be feeling this way.
Come on, the bride shouldn't be crying now.
My mom wiped away my tears. Sorry, Mom. These aren't the tears you think they are. Then the ceremony ended, and the reception began. Before the entrance, Michelle was there, giving me a reassuring smile. John was in a great mood from the start, all smiles. I could only muster an awkward laugh. The reception proceeded without incident, following the schedule. Then came the moment for the bride to read a letter of farewell and thanks to her family. The room dimmed, and the spotlight was only on me and my parents. I was handed the microphone. However, I did not read the letter. I turned to face the audience and began to speak quietly. Thank you all for gathering here today. Normally, this would be the moment I say farewell and thanks to my parents and join my beloved in marriage. But the room fell silent at the unexpected turn in my speech. From the corner of the stage, Michelle gave me the okay sign. The real bride is not me. As I declared this, the room burst into murmurs. The real bride is Victoria, John's junior from college. He said she was the one he truly loved. I have proof. As my words ended, the spotlight shone on one person in the venue. The spotlight illuminated Victoria. Lively music started playing, and a slideshow began. Images of two people holding hands, kissing, and entering a motel were displayed in sequence. Then the music stopped, and a video of their conversation was played loudly. The venue erupted into chaos.
What's the meaning of this?
John, explain yourself.
Amid the shouting, I handed the microphone to a pale-faced John, greeted his parents, and stepped down from the stage. Then, Olivia and Michelle rushed over and practically dragged me out of the venue. Behind us, the commotion had become incontrollable. Still in my dress, Michelle led me to an unused dressing room. Olivia brought my belongings and clothes, and I quickly changed and left the wedding venue. Then, Olivia drove me home, and I was finally able to relax.
We did it.
Yes, we certainly did. Despite causing a huge scene, I felt surprisingly exhilarated. After the wedding debacle, I packed my bags and returned to my parents' home. Although my parents were quite angry when they got back, they weren't too harsh since John was to blame. My father took care of the aftermath. Thankfully, everyone understood the situation regarding the broken engagement, and things resolved smoothly. John was the one who really had a hard time. After his affair was exposed and the wedding was ruined, his parents had to pay for all the expenses. Moreover, since his boss was at the wedding, it also came out at work that he had been using company email to contact Victoria during work hours, leading to his demotion. He didn't lose his job, but he couldn't bear the work environment after causing such a scandal and soon quit. Victoria, unable to be with John after the commotion, eventually broke up with him. I called off the engagement and demanded compensation for the damages and other costs from John. Since John had spent most of his savings on the wedding preparations, his parents covered the payments. With no particular skills, John struggled to find a full-time job again. He is now working part-time to repay his debts. I also demanded compensation from Victoria, John's affair partner. Since she had a history of bad behavior and had been disowned by her parents, she had to pay the compensation herself. Of course, she had no savings, so she apparently borrowed money from some shady lenders. Now, she's working in the nightlife industry to make the payments. While the emotional damage I suffered seems incomparable, it felt like they got their just desserts. Thanks to my father's kindness, I was put on leave from work, and with some free time, I decided to travel. In such times, people often head north rather than south for some reason. Michelle, feeling responsible for her role in the upheaval, had resigned from her job at the wedding venue. Feeling a bit guilty, I invited her to join me on the trip. Thanks to the compensation from John, I could cover the expenses. During the trip, we befriended two men and exchanged contacts, agreeing to meet again back home. They were colleagues from the same company and visited this tourist spot annually. Back home, I shared this with Olivia.
Why didn't you invite me?
Olivia was a little upset. So next time, we planned a 3-on-3 group date, adding another person to the mix. Despite everything that happened, I was regaining my spirits. Well, life is full of ups and downs. Such things happen. I am ready to move forward towards the future.